Morning, everybody. Day 2 of my scouting here in Iowa. I'm at my kind of final farm I haven't looked at this morning. It's whatever, 7:15 in the morning. So got a lot of rain last night, and I tell you what, the back roads in Iowa, they're not that forgiving when it gets rainy. I about didn't make it down one of the roads, and it gives them 4-wheel drive and everything. So be careful when you come out to Iowa in that manner. So not a lot of trees and whatnot on this farm, but there is a patch of pines and looks like some tall grass I'm gonna walk up into, and I'm kind of a bummer today. It's supposed to start like severely storming at 11 o'clock, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to kind of play it out, see what that's all about, and kind of make my best judgment. I've already kind of decided I probably need to come back here, say in like July or August, and check things out. So not a huge deal if I don't get any more scouting in the rest of the day, but we're gonna try. So I'm doing some walking around here, and I've walked quite a ways from the road back there, and it's all just been a cattle pasture and a creek line right there, but there's no cover on it at all because there's cattle in it. But I've gotten over here, and this little area doesn't look too bad. This is the fence row, or the property line right here. So what I thought from the road looked pretty good. Actually, I can't go in there. So I'm just gonna walk down the property line, I guess, and see if there's anything good coming out from there. And if there isn't, I'll probably head back to the truck and go throw a couple more cameras out on a couple of those other farms. Nice view up here. So I kind of got on top of the pasture here and got a look at the place, and I think I'm going to kind of head down to that little draw and see what's going on there. Doesn't look like the cows maybe can't get into this field over here, and maybe that little spot right there would be a good area. It's kind of in the corner of the property. There's crop field there, crop field over there. So yeah, head down there and see. It's hard to say what everything, what the cover's like here in the fall. However, I would assume that I would see some sign from this fall if it was something the deer used during the hunting season. Okay, got down in here, and this is what it kind of looks like. This creek, you can see there's not a lot of bedding covering it or anything, and yeah, I think I'm gonna bounce out of here. And it's a beautiful piece of land, but I'm gonna bounce out of here and go back over to that other farm that has all the crop fields and all the bedding cover and all the deer sign, and spend a little more time fine-tuning my process over there. I think there's options at that farm to have, more than a handful of sits on it. All right, back at one of the farms I was at yesterday now. Had to park at a little different spot just because where I parked at yesterday was super wet and didn't want to get stuck. So I'm gonna go and do a little more adventuring around on here and get a couple cameras set out, and yeah, try to hurry before I get some severe weather on me or something. I think I'll be okay, but just have to make sure there's no, I don't know, said there's possibility of hail and stuff. I guess I'll be all right. I've never gotten wet and not dried. So I'm just into the creek here, and it's all pretty nice. Really good scrape here. You can see messed with that tree and pulled that limb down right there. I don't think that's a bed. I think that's a scrape. So this little area here, though, it looks like a bedding area that I think would be a good spot. So I think I'm gonna there's a bunch of trails that come out of it, and if you can imagine, like right now this looks like it's flat, and it is, but I would imagine during season it's gonna be, neck high in here. So I wouldn't be able to, they have a lot more cover in here than they do right now. So that's kind of why I think they'd probably be in here during season. And they've clearly been in here at some point in time. There's rubs all over the place in here. So there's like a little field out here. I'm gonna go see if it's corn or beans to know if it's gonna be corn or beans next year. And I may try to throw a trail camera up over it in an area where they're coming out to the field, and then I'll know. I could see deer coming out in this field during the daylight hours during early season. It's kind of tucked away. You wouldn't be able to see it from the road, and it's a smaller field. Let's pop up here and just show you real quick. You can see it's just like a little cubby hole back here between the two ditch lines. So this was obviously beans last year, so it's probably gonna be corn this year. All right, I just kind of came in this little thicket in between the crop fields. It's like, if you can imagine, well, I'll just show you on the aerial, show you where I'm at. It's a little bigger section, and I jumped in here thinking it was going to be good bedding, and sure enough, there's some big rubs, and then clearly mature deer right there. It's been coming in here. It looks like there are some beds back kind of tucked in here, and nothing real fresh. You can kind of see here, I'll show you a couple of them. There's one right there, and there's one tucked back in there. But I don't think it's such a small little spot. You'd really have to think about how you got in here, because I think they would bust you as soon as you got close to this spot. But you can see here, he tore off that limb there, and then all those rubs I just pointed out to you. Yeah, so let me look around this little area, and then I'm going to think about like wind direction and where I think he would come out into these fields at night, and pick out a tree, go from there. You can also see across this little gully where they go up and they bed, kind of right there underneath that canopy they have almost. Pretty interesting little spot there. You can see the bare dirt over there. I'm not going to jump over there and look at it, but pretty cool little area here. I definitely need to mark this and find a tree to set in right outside of it. I'm assuming they're going to want to go that way out into the fields. I don't think they would go that way. There is a crop field over there, but I would think they'd want to tend to go out this way at night. Guess I'm being kind of silly here. I got his tracks. I ought to just follow him back, see where he came from, see if there's like a specific bed he's using in here. This had to have been from this morning, because it absolutely poured down rain last night here. So I'm kind of thinking he bedded right in here somewhere last night. The tracks kind of run off, and I don't see him anywhere after that log right there. So maybe he's laid in here last night, or even in that little spot right there underneath that canopy in the rain. Definitely going to mark this as a bed. There's some doe tracks over there, but definitely not his tracks across that laid over log right there. So let's see where he went last night. Some fresh poop from him right there. It's still warm almost. So you can see the track right here. I mean, that's a giant track. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, it looks like he just came out through here and right out to the field. So I'm gonna sneak out here and pick out probably that tree right there, honestly. Let's go look at it. Okay, so he jumped that log and just walked out here in the field. This is probably his tracks right here. Yeah, tracks right there. See here, show you guys a tip of how big a deer can be. You can tell how long they are by like the spread of his stride. So you can see like this deer right here, like this is the middle of his stride, and then he's all the way, I mean, he's freaking probably 4 foot, if not better, from one stride to the next. So a lot of times, like a young deer will have a shorter body. His strides won't be as long. But this big buck here, I mean, if you look, I mean, he obviously he's like a 6-finger track, but his strides, I can't stride as big as he is. And these are just walking tracks here. So, something else to look at whenever you're looking at tracks. I mean, this is an exceptionally big deer. I don't think I've ever seen a stride this big. I'm a little conflicted because this is going to be corn. That out there is going to be beans. So, I don't know, but we'll see. Well, I was going to sit in this tree right here. Whatever, that one over there. That one over there. And I think I'm just a little bit too close to him right here. I'm only 40 yards from the bed that I found in there, so I'm a little bit conflicted because he could easily come out right there and be in the corn next year and be gone if that's where he's going to be bedding at. So I'll have to maybe put some notes in my maps, like, hey, come in here on a windy day, or, you know, higher winds or early or something like that. But I think I would probably set back maybe another 5 or 10 yards. You know, it could make all the difference in the world. But yeah, and also I got to come in here in the summertime and just see what it looks like, because, you know, I don't know how all these limbs are going to affect me. I mean, I could cut them down, but I will probably not when he's bedding there. I don't have a saw to do it right now. But this is a good spot. I'm pretty confident that buck's bedding right there. I walked the edge of that other field over there on the way in here. I never saw any tracks, and those just appeared. And it rained last night, so it tells me he probably laid there at some point in time this last night, and then maybe came out and went somewhere else this morning, or I jumped him out of there. I don't think I did, unless he could see my truck, which is through there, and just kind of got up and walked out of here before I got in here. So there's a finger that comes out of that bedding. That bedding is way back in there, and it kind of conjoins to the creek down there, and they were bedding on that creek. So I thought, man, I'm getting this finger, and it's probably from one side to the other 30 yards long, maybe not even that far. And I'm going to follow this out, and there's just a lot of really good trails coming out of it, a lot of good trails going out into the kraut fields. So I think this may be a better option to sit in this finger coming out of that bedding. I could see when the corn's in, maybe a big buck. I mean, he'll definitely walk through that corn, no question. But if he's not doesn't have a lot of pressure, he may just come down this finger in hopes to not have to mess around with avoiding corn stalks. So a lot of good trees. I mean, there's plenty of good trees I could set in here and not have to worry about it too much. And it's hard to pick out a tree right now, because you don't know what the foliage is going to look like. You have an idea, but it'll be completely different when I come in here in the fall. So I'm just kind of assessing the area, and around the area I want to pick a tree out in and go from there. I like to get a spot where I can kind of shoot both edges in case the deer's walking down, and then I'd have to hunt this on a north wind, or northwest, northeast, something out of the north. I could probably get away with the straight west or east, anything but south. So it's a really good spot that is versatile, and you can set in here on a lot of winds. Now, obviously, directly east and directly west winds would eliminate one edge, but that's all right. A lot of times deer will lay in the end of a finger or something against the cornfield, and you can see here deer's been laying right here, poop right there. Yeah, gonna kind of look around in this little finger and see what we got going on here. So got bedding right there at the end of the finger. I got bedding in the back of the finger where it meets the creek. So I got to be conscious when I come through here of not getting too close to the end here and trying to stay up into the middle of this finger and hop in here. And you can see it's fairly open through here. I'm sure this grass will be tall, but I'll be able to get shots in here. I could sit in a lot of these trees on the edges somewhere and shoot down in there. So probably depending on the wind direction, which side I set on. So like, I guess I should explain that. Like, for example, if you got something out of the south or northwest, you'd want to set on this side. If you got something out of the northeast or southeast, you could set on this side. So we're supposed to get some severe storms here in just a little bit, so I think I'm gonna maybe get make my way back to the truck here and figure out what I'm gonna do the rest of the day, or if I'm gonna go over to the Iowa Deer Classic for the rest of the day or something other than scout in the severe weather. I would scout 100% in it, but I don't really like carrying around all my camera stuff and ruining a bunch of equipment. Ooh, the heavy stuff's starting to come down now. Almost back though. Oh, I'm back on the road, heading back towards Indiana. I looked at the hourly forecast and I just had storms and everything else on it. And I didn't have a whole lot of other places I really wanted to get to while I was here. My goal was to get familiar with the areas I'm going to be hunting, get to know the farmer, that kind of thing. And I definitely got that accomplished. I'm going to probably come back in July or August and double check the crops and see how things are looking then. Maybe make a trip out of it with my wife or something. And yeah, then it'll be October before you know it. I hope you guys got something out of this episode. I know it's not a public land, ground and pound, looking for all these real cool spots, but private land doesn't get talked about a lot in our little community we have here. And I think if you can take the resources that you may have around you that you don't even realize it. You know, you probably work somewhere, right? You probably got someone at work that you're buddies with, and they probably got a cousin that lives in Iowa, or they may have a cousin that lives in, you know, Kansas, or their uncle used to live in Kansas and they used to have a farm there, whatever the case may be. And you got to make these connections to where eventually, you know, those connections lead to, hey, oh, you can go hunt my uncle's farm in South Dakota, or something like that. You know, all kinds of ways you can end up on a farm out of state, especially like if you let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to be, this isn't going to be an every year thing. Like, I'm just going to come here in October for a week and I'll be gone. You never see me again. You know, stuff like that really goes a long way. Another thing that goes a long way is if they give you something like ground to hunt, like give back to them in some way, whether it be, you know, buy them a gift card to Texas Roadhouse. Their family can go out to eat on you one night. Something I did, I didn't film it, I should have, but I took an hour this morning and I went around with my drone and I took some pictures of their properties, and I'm going to make some frames out of some barnwood I have at my house and send it to them just to say thank you. And people like stuff like that. That sometimes means more to them than money or anything like that. So is it free to hunt there? Yeah, it's free if I wanted to, you know, make it free, but I'm not a rich man by any means, but I'm good at woodworking and stuff like that. So I'll a lot of times, you know, take that talent I have and make something nice for a landowner. So think about that next time you're doing something that someone's given you an opportunity to hunt somewhere or do something cool, just because out of the kindness of their heart, take some time to do something for them if you can. So sorry about that long rant, and you guys have a great rest of your whatever you're doing today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.